Ngozi Adeyemi was already late. Her delivery bike weaved through the chaotic Benin City traffic as fast as she dared push it. The food box strapped behind her rattled every time she hit a pothole, and her phone buzzed non-stop on the handlebar mount. The customer had called twice already. "Madam, I'm almost there. Just 5 more minutes, please." That morning she had woken up with only one thought circling her mind. Make money, save money, pay the debt. She was still turning the debt over in her head when she saw the old man. "I forgot to bring cash. My grandson is on his way. Just give me 1 loaf, he will pay you when he arrives." "Old man, get away from my stall. Do I look like I'm running a charity here?" "I am not begging, he is coming." "If you don't have money, move. You people will always say somebody is coming." "Move, you shameless old man." Ngozi stopped her bike so fast it nearly skidded. "Papa, are you okay?" "I am fine, my daughter, I am fine." She turned to the bread seller, fury rising in her chest. "Why did you push him? Is he your father?" "That is not the point. He is an elderly man. You do not treat him like that over a loaf of bread." "He wanted to carry bread without paying. He said his grandson was coming." "Then let the grandson come and pay when he comes." Ngozi reached into her jacket and pulled out the little cash she had saved for fuel and emergencies. It wasn't much. She had planned to stretch it until evening. "How much is the bread?" 1,200 naira. She knew he had inflated the price the moment she challenged him, but she said nothing. "Give him 2 loaves." "2?" "Yes, 2. She pressed the money into the seller's hand before she could change her mind. "Here, Papa, eat something. Sit down first, you look weak." "My daughter, many people passed by here today. They all saw me. Nobody stopped." Something in those words cut through her chest. Maybe because her own mother had once sat just as helpless, just as invisible to a busy road full of strangers. "Are you hurt anywhere, Papa?" "No, my daughter, you came just in time." "Do you want me to call your grandson?" "He is coming. He is always coming late." "Then he should learn to come early. What is your name, Papa?" "My name is Baba Eshiet, and you?" "Ngozi." "Ngozi, good name, you have a good heart. You will make a fine wife for my grandson." "Papa, please, I'm not thinking about marriage." "Why not?" "Because marriage does not pay debt. I just want to survive. I want a stable job and to clear what I owe." "You are too young to carry this kind of weight, my daughter." "Life does not ask age before it loads a person down, Papa. I have to go now, I'm already late for a delivery." She pressed a folded paper into his palm. "Take this, my number. If you ever need anything, call me. Even if I cannot do much, I can at least come." "Ngozi, God will not forget you." "Amen, Papa. Please sit somewhere and finish that bread." She had barely climbed back onto her bike when a black SUV eased to the curb. A driver stepped out first. 2 broad-shouldered security men followed. Then the rear door opened and a tall young man stepped out, Kelechi Eronini. At 29, Kelechi carried himself like a man used to being obeyed without question. His face stayed calm, almost unreadable, but his eyes missed nothing. He was the group managing director of Eronini Holdings, one of the most powerful private conglomerates in the country, though very few people outside his inner circle had ever seen his face. "Papa, I'm sorry. The meeting ran longer than I expected." "You came late and let your wife escape." "My what, Papa, did you hit your head somewhere? Are you confused?" "Don't talk nonsense. I met a girl today, a very good girl. She bought bread for me when this heartless man pushed me down." "He pushed you, Papa." "Leave him. Ngozi already fought my battle for me." "Ngozi." "That is her name. She has respect. She has kindness. She did not know who I was, but she still helped me. Not like these girls who only smile when they smell money." "Papa, please. I'm not marrying anybody because she bought you bread." "I will find that girl again." Papa, listen to yourself. And you should listen to yourself. That is why you are still single at 29. Kelechi said nothing. There was no winning an argument with Papa Eshiet once marriage entered the conversation. 2 days later, Ngozi's phone rang while she was scrubbing a pot in her small kitchenette. "Hello, my daughter, is this Ngozi?" "Yes, who is this?" "It's me, the old man, the one you bought bread for. I need your help." "Papa, are you okay?" "My chest feels tight. My eyes are doing something strange. I don't know what is happening to me." "Where are you? Send me the address now. I'm coming." At that exact moment, Papa Eshiet was sitting comfortably in a large, sun-filled sitting room, looking perfectly healthy, sipping zobo from a tall glass. "Papa, this is wrong. I am old. Anything can happen." "You are not sick. Are you a doctor now? You called that girl here with a lie." "I called her to test her. She already bought me bread once. Is that not proof enough?" "No, I want to know if she will still come when she thinks I have nothing left to give her." "She will not come, Papa. To her, you are just a poor old man who could not afford bread. She has her own life to chase." "Then let us see." Kelechi hated this game. He had contracts waiting for signature, 3 calls to return, a board meeting rescheduled twice already. But his grandfather was the only person alive who could drag him into this kind of foolishness and still make him stay till the end of it. The door burst open. Ngozi rushed in, breathless, sweat on her brow from running the last stretch. "Papa, Papa, where is the pain? Should I call an ambulance? Can you stand?" "Easy, my child. I am managing." "No, we need a hospital now." "My daughter, calm yourself. I already feel better now that you are here." Kelechi stared at her from across the room. For a moment nobody spoke. Then Ngozi's eyes narrowed. "Papa, were you really sick?" "I was uncomfortable. You sounded like you were dying on the phone." "I missed you." "Papa, that is not fair to do to somebody." "I'm sorry, my daughter, but look, you came. That tells me your heart is exactly as good as I thought it was." Kelechi kept watching her. She was clearly upset, and yet she still crossed the room, touched the old man's arm, checked his face for any sign of distress, made sure his hands weren't trembling. She had come without asking what she stood to gain from it. For the first time since that morning at the bread stall, Kelechi wondered if he had judged her too quickly. "Ngozi, this is my grandson, Kelechi Eronini." She turned and looked at him properly for the first time, really looked. "Good afternoon." "Good afternoon." "He is 29, handsome, responsible, and more than ready for marriage." "Papa, Papa, please." "What, am I lying?" "I'm sorry. My grandfather enjoys arranging other people's lives. You two should talk. You would make a fine couple." "Papa, I already told you I am not ready for marriage." "Nonsense, my dear. You will be ready, and I have no plans to marry a complete stranger. Young people talk too much these days." "Papa, this is not funny." "It is not meant to be funny. It is serious. If you marry into this family, you will never suffer another day. Houses, money, full support, anything you could ever need." "My grandfather likes to exaggerate. Please don't mind him." "Who is exaggerating? He likes pretending we are wealthy. That car parked outside is borrowed. These clothes are nothing special. I don't even have a steady job yet." He turned to Ngozi, voice dropping with something close to shame. "He spent his pension renting this big house just so we could impress you and look like important people, but we are actually struggling. He rented this house for only 24 hours. There is nothing shameful in that." Everyone turned. Ngozi's voice had stayed completely level. "I also live in one rented room. I ride a delivery bike because I have no better option yet, so I have no right to look down on anybody for being poor." Kelechi didn't know what to say. Most people changed the instant they realized money wasn't actually on the table. Their smiles shrank. Their warmth cooled by several degrees. but Ngozi's face hadn't moved an inch. "Grandpa, you shouldn't have spent your pension on something like this. I don't care about big houses or borrowed cars." "Did you hear that? A woman with real sense for once." A new voice cut through the room, sharp and impatient. "I'm Auntie Patience." "Hello, Auntie." "Ngozi, I hope you have my money ready." "Auntie, I'm still working on it." "Your mother's hospital debt is still sitting on my neck." "Auntie, please, the amount keeps rising." "You think money stays the same size forever? Interest has entered it. My stress has entered it too. You owe me 2 million naira now. Please, I'm begging you, don't increase it again." "Your mother was my sister. Did I kill her?" "Auntie, please don't speak like that. If you don't bring my money soon, I will throw away everything she left behind. The boxes, the clothes, the photographs, all of it. I am tired of keeping rubbish in my house. Please don't touch my mother's things." "Then pay me." "I will pay, I promise." Ngozi's eyes had gone glassy, but she wiped them away fast, before turning back to the room and forcing her shoulders straight. Kelechi had heard enough to draw exactly one conclusion. Money. There it was again, the way it always was. He studied her closely, and the earlier suspicion crept back into his chest. "Ngozi, is everything all right?" "Yes, Papa, just a money matter." "Marry her." "Papa." "You heard me clearly." "Papa, please, I cannot marry a man simply because his grandfather feels sorry for me. And you should understand something, marriage to me will not make your life easier. I am broke. No stable job, no comfort, only hardship waiting on the other side." "If I agree to this," Ngozi said slowly, "I have one condition." "Say it, my daughter." "I need 2 million naira." Kelechi's jaw tightened instantly. So this is what she actually wants. "It is not free money," Ngozi added quickly, catching the shift in his face. "I will pay it back. I only need it to save my mother's belongings. My auntie will throw them away if I don't settle this." "Is that all? 2 million is nothing for a good granddaughter-in-law. I will make the call right now." "Papa." "I understand, send it now, the full 2 million. Ngozi watched him, confused. For a man Kelechi insisted was not wealthy, Papa Eshiet spoke like someone who had never once been told no in his life. Kelechi caught her expression and cleared his throat. "My grandfather knows a lot of people. That is his only fine. I'll handle it. The money will be sent. Now let us go." "Go where?" "To the marriage registry." "Today?" "Yes, today." "Papa, you cannot be serious." "I am very serious. You already agreed." "I did not agree. I stayed quiet." "In this house, that is agreement. You helped me this morning without planning it. Let me help you now without wasting time." Ngozi looked over at Kelechi. He looked furious, but also strangely trapped, like a man watching his own life get rearranged in real time without his permission. She should have walked straight out of that door. She knew that. No sensible woman married a complete stranger in one single afternoon. But her mother's belongings flashed behind her eyes, the boxes, the old wrapper, the photographs with curled edges. Auntie Patience would really do it. She would really throw it all away. "If I do this, I will pay back every naira." "You will not need to." "I will." Kelechi studied her for a long moment. He still didn't trust her, but there was something in her voice that didn't sound greedy. It sounded desperate. And desperation, he knew very well, could push people into the strangest decisions. The marriage registry was nearly empty when they arrived. Papa Eshiet had already made the calls. A lawyer stood waiting by the front desk. 2 of Papa's longtime staff stood in as witnesses. Ngozi barely understood how the whole day had unfolded this fast, but she was too overwhelmed to ask more questions. "Are you sure about this?" "Yes." "My children, today is a good day. Ngozi, from this moment you are family." Thank you, Papa. And you, Papa turned to Kelechi, voice suddenly firm. Treat her well. If I ever hear that you made this girl cry, I will deal with you myself. Yes, Papa. I am not joking with you. I know, Papa. You will live well together, eh? We will try, Papa. Not try, you will. The moment Papa's car pulled away from the registry, the air between them changed completely. Let us be clear about something, Kelechi said. I'm listening. This marriage happened because of my grandfather. Do not imagine for 1 second that it is real. I already know that. I don't know you. You don't know me. We are not husband and wife in any real sense of those words. Fine. What are you doing? Asking for your number. Why? We just signed a marriage certificate. Even if it means nothing to you, it is still legally binding. If Papa asks me for your number and I don't have it, what exactly will I tell him? She handed him a folded slip of paper, without waiting for an answer. Thank you, what is this? For the 2 million. You wrote me an IOU. Yes. You think a piece of paper changes anything? No, but I want you to know I am not trying to take advantage of you. You asked for money before agreeing to marry me. I asked because I was desperate, not because I wanted your money for its own sake. My mother died after suffering for years. The little she left behind is sitting in my auntie's house. If I lose those things, I lose the last piece of her I have left to hold on to. And there are still hospital bills hanging over my head too. I know you were forced into this. I know you didn't choose me. I will pay back every naira. With what job? I have an interview coming up soon. A design company. I studied jewelry design in school. Until then, I'll keep doing deliveries. I'll pay you back little by little. Do you expect me to believe that? No, I can't force you to believe anything, but I know myself. She paused, softening slightly. Please take care of Papa. He shouldn't be standing out under the sun like that again. Kelechi looked at her properly. Even after everything that had just happened to her, she was still thinking about an old man she'd known for less than 3 days. He stood alone outside the registry afterward, the IOU still folded in his hand. He wanted to crumple it and throw it away. He wanted to tell himself she was exactly like every other woman who had ever circled his money. But the paper stayed in his fingers. And for the first time since his grandfather had first said her name out loud, Kelechi Eronini was no longer completely sure he had her figured out. Oga, the car is ready. 2 men approached. The first was Tobina Ifeni, his personal assistant. Where is Papa? Gone home already, sir. He said his work for today was finished. Boss, should I say congratulations? I only mean you left the house single this morning. My grandfather forced the whole thing. Of course, sir. Say whatever you need to say to feel better about it. Nothing, sir. I value my job too much. Ngozi must not find out who I really am. You mean she must not know you're the GMD of Eronini Holdings? Yes. Eronini Holdings was not a small name to drop in this country. It was a multi-billion naira conglomerate with arms in real estate, hospitality, luxury design, and oil servicing. Why, sir? Because I don't trust her yet. She asked for 2 million naira before agreeing to marry me. She promised to pay it back, but that doesn't make her honest. So what should she know about you? That I work around the company somewhere. If she asks directly, tell her I'm a driver. A driver, sir. Is there a problem? No, sir. I'm only trying to picture you collecting a driver's salary at month end. Understood, sir. The next morning, Ngozi arrived at Salah's atelier with her portfolio tucked under her arm. Salah's atelier was a small but respected design house, though it was unusually full of people that day, because Eronini Holdings had quietly acquired it only weeks earlier. I heard the new owner is young, very rich, Handsome too and not married, one applicant whispered to another in the waiting area. Are you here for him too? No, I'm here for the job, Ngozi answered. I'm married, I just need work, I have debts to clear. When she stepped into the waiting room, she saw a face she knew far too well, Adeyemi Briggs. They had been coursemates at university. Adeyemi came from money and had never once let Ngozi forget it. So it's true, I heard you deliver food now. Work is work, Adeyemi. From being the best jewelry designer in our class to carrying food for strangers, life is really something. Your last job was food delivery, someone behind her murmured. Yes, Ma, but I studied jewelry design. My work is in my portfolio. This is a design house, not a food company. Please judge me by my work, not by my poverty. These designs are almost identical to mine, Adeyemi said loudly, holding up 2 sketches. Adeyemi, you know that is a lie. You copied me back in school too, now you're doing it again. If the work is truly yours, explain the concept behind it, the panel coordinator said. It's a modern jewelry piece. It represents beauty and elegance. That's all you have to say about it. Ngozi stepped forward, voice steady. The necklace was inspired by my late mother's beads. The 3 curved lines represent patience, dignity, and courage. The broken pattern in the center represents loss, and the gold thread running through it represents the strength it takes to keep moving after that loss. Adeyemi comes highly recommended, sir. Her uncle sits on our board. So you won't even check which design is the original. Are you questioning our process? Adeyemi, leave before you embarrass yourself further. What exactly is going on in here? A voice from the doorway. Everyone straightened immediately. Sir, 2 applicants submitted nearly identical designs. One is accusing the other of copying. Get me both files. Kelechi studied the 2 sketches side by side for less than 10 seconds. How did nobody here catch this immediately? It's obvious. One is a complete finished piece. The other is a weak copy. But before he could step fully into the room, he caught sight of Ngozi standing near the panel desk. He froze. If she saw the entire office treating him like the man in charge, his secret would unravel in seconds. He turned sharply to Tobina and spoke under his breath. You're the boss in here, now. Boss is Kelechi. I work as his driver sometimes, Tobina said loudly, recovering fast. His driver? Tobina cleared his throat and straightened his jacket, doing his best impression of a man in charge. What exactly happened here? Sir, this girl tried to. Kelechi stood just behind him, voice low enough for only Tobina to catch. Why did they ignore the obvious errors in the other girl's design? Sir, this work is clearly copied. The measurements are off. The concept is empty. Hers, Tobina gestured toward Ngozi, is complete and original. Sir, my uncle sits on this board. Adeyemi tried again. That's not talent, that's a name. Tobina turned to the 2 panel members who had vouched for Adeyemi. You 2 are demoted pending a full review. Adeyemi Briggs, you're disqualified from this interview. He turned to Ngozi. Miss Adeyemi, your work is excellent. Solace Atelier is offering you the position. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I did nothing, Tobina muttered as the room emptied. You helped me, Ngozi said. Your work helped you. If it wasn't good, nobody would have hired you regardless of what I said. Still, thank you. Kelechi didn't answer. He walked away before her smile could reach somewhere it had no business reaching. Where are you going? Papa Eshiot asked that evening. To my room. Your room in whose house? You are a married man now. Go and live with your wife. Grandpa, you cannot be serious. That marriage was entirely your idea. And now it is your life to manage. I will stay in a hotel instead. Try it, and I will call Ngozi tonight myself and tell her exactly who you really are. Kelechi knew, without a doubt, that his grandfather would absolutely do it. So later that night, he stood outside Ngozi's small one-room apartment holding a single travel bag. "What happened?" "I need somewhere to stay." "Your landlord threw you out." "Something like that." "You couldn't pay your rent." "Come in." He stepped inside and thought briefly of his own mansion across town, and almost laughed out loud at the absurdity of his own life. "It's small, but it's safe, most of the time." "Most of the time." "Relax, I'm joking. What happened just now?" "The circuit breaker tripped again." "Were you scared?" "I was not scared." "You jumped like a man who just saw a ghost." "I'm not hungry." "Eat before your stomach disgraces you in front of me." He took a bite, more out of politeness than hunger, and stopped. "This is genuinely good, better than what our cook makes back at the company guest house." "Your cook?" "My friend's younger sister. She cooks for us sometimes." "I can cook, so fix small electrical things, change a tire, and survive almost any problem life throws at me." "Who taught you all of that?" "Life taught me. My mother died when I was still young. My father betrayed her before she even passed. Don't look at me like that. I'm not helpless. I'm a life expert." "A life expert? Where are you going now?" "To work." "At this hour?" "Yes." "You are not going alone. You want to follow me. The same you that was just afraid of darkness a minute ago." "I was not afraid." "Fine, come along then." That night, Kelechi finally saw the shape of her actual life. "You're late," a customer snapped at the door. "The food is cold. This is completely unacceptable. I want a refund." "I understand, sir. I'll process that immediately." "Stop this delivery work altogether. Will it even feed you properly?" "I will support you properly, Ngozi," Kelechi muttered. "You that can't even pay your own rent. Please support yourself first." As they rode back toward her street, a sleek car swerved too close and clipped the edge of Ngozi's bike. She wrestled it under control just before it went down. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine." The car braked hard. A young man stepped out, already shouting, "Tabaloba Briggs, Adeyemi's boyfriend." Well, Ngozi again. Look at this scratch you put on my car." "You hit us." "With a delivery bike, please." "Watch how you speak to her," Kelechi cut in. "Oh, the driver speaks. Nice fake designer suit. Nice fake watch." Tabaloba squinted at Kelechi's wrist. "That actually looks like the rare piece people say belongs to the Eronini GMD. Don't make me laugh. Can the Eronini GMD be standing on this roadside next to her?" "It's fake. Pay 500,000 naira for the scratch." "We are not paying for your lie." "And where exactly would you get that kind of money?" "From Eronini Holdings, maybe. My boss advanced me my salary." "As a driver?" "Yes." Kelechi sent one short, quiet message to Tobina. Within minutes, Tabaloba's confident sneer had completely vanished, and he sped off far less proudly than he'd arrived. "You damaged my car," Adeyemi said suddenly, appearing from the passenger side. "This will cost 2 million naira to fix." 2 million? This is your fault." "My fault? You were the one driving." "Bring the money you just collected from them. It's your car, you pay for it." "You collected the money. Don't play games with me." "I am not paying for anything." "It is your responsibility." Ngozi watched the two of them turn on each other and burst out laughing despite the pain still throbbing in her ankle. For once in her life, Adeyemi was tasting a small spoon of her own medicine. Kelechi looked over at Ngozi's face and felt something shift quietly in his chest. He liked watching her laugh. He liked it more than he was ready to admit. "Your ankle. It's nothing. You don't have to suffer through everything alone anymore. Sit down." His words landed somewhere deeper than she expected, and she looked away before he could see it on her face. "There are two kinds of people I genuinely hate in this world," she said quietly. Which kind? People who bully others weaker than them, and people who lie. She looked up at him directly. My father lied to my mother for years. I watched what it did to her slowly over time. So if you ever lie to me, Kelechi, I will divorce you without a second thought. Kelechi lowered his eyes and said nothing at all. Because the man tending so gently to Ngozi's ankle that night was already lying to her about almost everything that mattered. The next morning, he slipped out of the apartment before she fully woke. Don't bring the company car anywhere near this area again, he told Tobina outside. Good morning to you too, sir. Why not? Just don't. I'm serious, sir. May I at least ask why? If Ngozi sees you picking me up in that car, she'll start asking questions I'm not ready to answer. Plenty of women would give up almost anything just to marry into the Eronini family, sir. And yet you're hiding from the one woman who's already legally your wife. Ngozi is different. Yes, sir, whatever you say, sir. Back at the apartment, Ngozi was waiting with a small nylon bag. You left early. I had something to handle. I made you lunch. For me? Yes, buying food outside all the time is expensive, and some of it isn't even safe to eat. Why are you looking at me like nobody has ever packed lunch for you before? Thank you, no one ever has. You're welcome. Eat it properly, please. Don't try to act like a big man and waste it. I won't. Let me drop you off at work. Thank you. Call me when you close for the day. I can find my own way back. I said call me. Okay, husband. The word hung in the air between them. Lighter than either of them expected it to feel. By the time Ngozi's first week at Solace Atelier ended, 3 things had become clear to her. The pay was small but steady. The work itself felt like breathing again after years of holding her breath. And the man everyone whispered about, the mysterious young GMD who never showed his face on company letterheads, was somehow always nearby whenever trouble found her. She didn't think much of it. Lagos, Benin, Abuja, these big companies all had their quiet, careful owners. She had bigger worries. Anti-patients had called twice that week, each time sharper than the last. 2 million is sitting in my account, Anti-patient said the third time she called, her voice oddly calm. I have decided to keep your mother's things a little longer, but Ngozi, money does not erase blood. You still owe me respect. Yes, Auntie, thank you, Auntie. And this husband of yours, a driver, you said. Yes, Auntie. Strange kind of driver who can find 2 million naira in one afternoon. Ngozi paused, the comment settling oddly in her chest. She brushed it aside. People exaggerated. Drivers for big men sometimes had access to emergency funds. She'd heard of stranger things. At the office, Adiz hadn't given up so easily either. Demoted but not dismissed, she still floated around Solace Atelier with the practiced smile of someone waiting for her moment. I heard congratulations are in order, Adiz said one afternoon, leaning against Ngozi's desk uninvited. Married to a driver, how romantic. Adiz, I have work to finish. I'm only saying it's interesting. The new owner walks into a copyright dispute, takes one look at your little necklace sketch, and suddenly I'm the villain. Men don't usually move that fast for nothing. He moved fast because you were lying. Or maybe, Adiz said, lowering her voice, he moved fast because he already knew you, before that day. I have a cousin who works close to the Eronini family in Ngozi. Strange things have been said in certain circles, about a sudden marriage, about an old man and a girl on a roadside. Ngozi's hand stilled over her sketchpad. What are you trying to say? Nothing yet. Adiz smiled and walked off. Just watch your driver husband closely, that's all I'll say. That evening, the seed Adiz had planted refused to leave Ngozi's mind. She thought of Papa Eshiat's strange confidence. The way he'd spoken on the phone, like a man giving an order rather than asking a favor. The 2 million naira that had appeared within the hour. No paperwork, no questions, no delay. The watch on Kelechi's wrist that Tabaloba had recognized from somewhere. She said nothing to Kelechi that night. She simply watched him more carefully, the way she watched a pot that hadn't yet started to boil but smelled like it might. 3 weeks into the marriage, Papa Eshiet's health scare stopped being a performance. It happened on a Tuesday morning, while Kelechi was at the office reviewing a stalled real estate acquisition. Tobina burst into his office without knocking, something he had never once done in 4 years of working for Kelechi. "Sir Papa, it's real this time." They reached the hospital within 20 minutes, sirens cutting through traffic that normally took an hour to clear. Papa Eshiet lay in the emergency ward, an oxygen mask over his face, his chest rising and falling with visible effort. A mild stroke, the doctor explained, caught early, manageable, but a clear warning that his heart could no longer carry the weight of his usual stubbornness. Ngozi arrived 40 minutes later, still in her work clothes, sketchpad abandoned mid-design on her desk back at the office. She hadn't waited for anyone to explain twice. "Papa," she took his hand gently, careful of the IV line taped across the back of it. "Papa, can you hear me?" His eyes fluttered open, weak but alert. "My daughter, you came." "Of course I came. Why wouldn't I come?" "Because this time," he whispered, "it was not a trick." Kelechi stood at the foot of the bed, watching her hold his grandfather's hand like it was the most natural thing in the world, and felt something inside his chest crack quietly open. There was no performance here, no audience to impress, no money on the table, nothing to gain. Just a girl who barely had 200 naira to spare, standing in a hospital corridor at midnight for a man who wasn't even truly her family. "You should go home and rest," he told her later, once Papa had been moved to a private room and finally drifted off to sleep. "I'm not leaving him alone tonight." "Ngozi." "I said I'm not leaving Kelechi." He didn't argue further. He pulled 2 plastic chairs together near the window instead, and they sat in silence for a long while, the hospital machines beeping softly in the background. "Can I ask you something?" she said eventually, not looking at him. "Ask." "How does a driver afford 2 million naira on a single phone call? No paperwork, no loan forms, no questions, just sent." Kelechi's jaw tightened in the darkness. "My grandfather has contacts, people who owe him favors from years back." "That's what you said before." "It's the truth." "Is it?" She finally turned to look at him directly, her eyes tired but sharp. "Because Adiz said something strange to me at work, about you, about knowing me before that day at the bread stall, about circles close to the Eronini family talking about a sudden marriage." The machines kept beeping. Somewhere down the hallway, a trolley wheel squeaked against the floor. "Adiz likes to talk," Kelechi said carefully. "That's not an answer." "Ngozi, it's late. Papa needs quiet." "You're avoiding the question." "I'm not avoiding anything. I'm asking you to let an old man sleep." She studied his face for a long moment in the dim hospital light, the careful stillness of it, the way his eyes refused to fully meet hers. It was the same stillness she remembered from men in her past who had learned to hide things well. Her father's face had worn that exact same calm the week before her mother found out everything. "Okay," she said quietly, turning back toward Papa's sleeping form. "We'll talk about it later." But something had shifted in the room, and they both felt it settle into the space between their 2 chairs like a third, uninvited guest. Papa Eshiet was discharged 4 days later, under strict instructions to rest and avoid all forms of stress, instructions he had no intention of honoring. "Sit down, Papa," the doctor said. "The doctor has not run a company for 40 years. Sit. I want to talk to both of you." Ngozi and Kelechi exchanged a glance and sat. "I am tired of this hiding," Papa said, his voice weaker than before but no less firm. Ngozi has stood by this family with nothing to gain. She held my hand in that hospital like blood holds blood. She deserves the truth before I close my eyes for good. Papa, don't talk like that. I am old, not foolish. I know my time is shortening. He turned to his grandson. Tell her, Kelechi. Tell her tonight in your own voice before somebody else tells her in theirs. Kelechi's hands tightened around each other in his lap. Across the room, Ngozi sat very still, her eyes moving between the two men, already bracing for something she could feel coming the way you feel rain in the air before the first drop falls. Ngozi, he began slowly, there is something I should have told you from the very first day. Tell me. I'm not a driver. The room went completely silent. I know that much already, she said softly. I want to hear the rest of it, all of it tonight. Kelechi looked at his grandfather one last time, as if asking permission for words he could no longer take back. Papa Eshiet simply nodded. My name is Kelechi Eronini, he said. I am the group managing director of Eronini Holdings. Ngozi's breath caught somewhere between her chest and her throat. The pieces collided all at once. The rented mansion that wasn't rented at all, the 2 million naira sent in under an hour, the watch Tabaloba had recognized on the roadside, the staff who had called Tobin a boss, and then panicked into silence the moment Kelechi walked in. You let me believe you were broke, she said, her voice dangerously quiet. You let me write you an IOU. You let me promise to pay back 2 million naira on a delivery rider's salary while you own half the buildings in this city. Ngozi. You let me think we were equal, two struggling people forced into the same bad situation by an old man's foolish game. She stood up slowly, her hands trembling at her sides. Do you have any idea what that money meant to me, what it cost me to ask a stranger for it, and the whole time you were laughing behind a mask? I never laughed at you, not once. You lied to me every single day since that registry. Every single day, Kelechi. Her voice cracked on his name. I told you, that first night by the roadside, exactly what I think of liars. I told you what my father did to my mother, and you sat there and let me touch your hand and bring you food and worry about your safety, knowing the whole time that you were exactly the kind of man I said I would never forgive. I was protecting myself. I didn't know if I could trust you. And now, her eyes were wet, but her voice didn't break again. Do you trust me now, Kelechi? Now that you've watched me sit in a hospital corridor at midnight for a man who isn't even my real grandfather? Now that you've seen every part of my life you could have simply asked me about instead of testing me like a child cheating on an exam? Kelechi had no answer ready. For the first time in longer than he could remember, the silence that filled a room around him wasn't comfortable. It was the silence of a man watching something he hadn't realized he wanted slip quietly out of his hands. My daughter, Papa started. Please, Papa, not tonight. Ngozi picked up her bag from beside the chair, her fingers still trembling. I need air. I need to think. I need to remember who I actually married because right now I am not sure I know him at all. She walked out into the corridor and didn't look back. Kelechi rose halfway out of his chair to follow her, then stopped, his hand braced against the back of it, watching the door swing shut on its own slow hinge. Behind him, Papa Eshiet exhaled a long, tired breath. You have made a mistake tonight, my son, not the lie. The lie was already done the day you let it begin. Your mistake tonight was letting her walk out that door alone. Kelechi stood frozen between the chair and the door, his grandfather's words settling over him like a verdict. And for the first time since the morning he'd watched a stranger defend an old man on a dusty roadside, Kelechi Eronini had absolutely no idea what to do next. To be continued in part 2.
Before we begin, please subscribe.
If this
like,
story
and turn on
gripped you, don't
notifications so
scroll
you never
past
miss
without
our
hitting
next
that
powerful
subscribe
story.
button.
Welcome
Part
to
2
Golden
is
Billionaire
coming,
Stories.
and you won't want to
Before we
miss what
begin,
Ngozi
please
decides
subscribe,
next.
like, and turn on
Drop a comment
notifications so you
below and
never
tell
miss
us,
our next
should
powerful
Ngozi
story.
forgive him or
Welcome
should she
to
walk
Golden
away for
Billionaire
good?
Stories,
Like this
where
video,
ordinary
share it with
lives
someone who loves a
collide
good
with
drama,
extraordinary
and
wealth.
subscribe so you never